Most of you aren't subscribed. Make sure to subscribe, as it helps out the channel. Without further ado, following our MC, we see him talking about how he was bullied in middle school, causing him to shut himself away from the outside world. One day whilst on his phone, our MC is engulfed by a huge flash of light, only to appear in front of a goddess, who congratulates him as he's been selected to be reincarnated. Realizing he had probably passed away in his room, he hears that the goddess warns him that the new world only cares about magic prowess, so she states she'll give him a little boost. Hearing such an amazing offer, our MC reckons that he should try to replicate his shut-in life in this new world, striving to spend all day watching anime and playing games. Just like that, our MC is reincarnated as a baby, spotting a king calling out to his wife Giselet, happy to see that their child is a boy, and has a royal insignia as a birthmark. Deducing that his parents are royalty, our MC gets excited for the easy life, but notices that the king is now having our MC's potential gauged through a crystal ball. Stating that he himself is of pure royal blood, and his wife is a powerful adventurer, the king expects his son to have a maximum mana level cap of at least 40 or 50, but is disappointed when the orb reveals our MC's maximum mana level is 2. On top of that, the orb states that our MC has no elemental affinities, and can only use barrier magic, disappointing the king and queen. Knowing that they'll be a laughing stock among other nobles, the king and queen decide to fake their child's death, telling everyone their son died at childbirth, but both are upset that they had already given our MC the name of Reinhardt. Shocked that his parents don't want him, our MC hears the king order his servants to dispose of the child in a nearby forest, helpless to do anything. Cutting to the goddess that reincarnated him, she chats with another god, admitting that she gave our MC too high of a level and that the orb couldn't read our MC's true level of 1002, plus she forgot to give him any elemental affinities. Later that night, we see our MC curled up in a blanket, struggling to even move with his body. Testing out his barrier magic, our MC imagines a cube, easily conjuring up a cubic barrier. Testing out different colors and shapes, our MC wonders if he can encase himself with a cube, only to be amazed when he manages to lift himself up with his barrier magic. Happy to know he can at least run away from danger, our MC is caught off guard when a monster sneaks up on him, barely able to erect his barrier before being devoured. Surprised that his barrier is so sturdy, our MC pelts the monster with some cubic barriers, but when he sees that the cubes aren't doing anything, he follows up by tossing some trees at the monster. With the monster still not yielding, our MC picks up a huge chunk of land with his barrier, preparing to squash the monster, but suddenly hears the creature speak. Stopping to chat, our MC refuses to take the name Reinhardt, introducing himself as Haruto, only to see the creature apologize, only wanting to replenish its mana by devouring him. Knowing that his body is still too young to speak, Haruto encases his vocal cords with a barrier, able to vibrate them to emanate speech. Shocked that a baby is speaking, the creature wonders who our Haruto is, prompting Haruto to introduce himself, telling the creature that he had been abandoned. Sensing huge amounts of mana emanating from our MC, the creature urgently asks if Haruto is the Demon King reincarnated. Not wanting the creature to know he was a jobless shut-in, Haruto claims the title of the Demon King, scaring the creature as it offers its life to Haruto. Seeing the creature being dramatic, Haruto states that he'll leave it alive, as long as it doesn't try to attack him. Grateful to be spared, the creature introduces itself as a Flame Fenrir, but not wanting to chat any longer, Haruto calls the Flame Fenrir Flay, heading off. Stopping Haruto, Flay states that since Haruto has given it a name, they both now formed a master and slave pact. Not knowing what he had done, Haruto begins to fall unconscious, having not been fed anything since birth. Willing to do anything for her master, Flay transforms into a human form but realizes that she has no clothes, forcing Haruto to cover her with his barrier spell. Apologizing for her rudeness, she wonders what she should feed Haruto, but suddenly hears someone approaching from afar. Wanting to kill the stranger, Flay is instructed to peacefully settle any disputes first, casting a barrier that'll help him speak with her from afar. Confronting a man, Flay demands to know why he's here, learning that the man is a relative of Haruto's parents, here to rescue the abandoned child. Accusing the man of using a baby for ulterior motives, Flay is proven wrong when the man reveals that he has brought breast milk for Haruto, who is excited to finally consume something. Still not believing the man, Flay demands to know the man's true motives, learning that the man had lost his own child in the past, wanting to make up for it with Haruto. Crying at such a tragic backstory, Flay reasons that this man is more qualified to raise her master, but states that she'll only allow him to raise her master as long as she's his personal attendant. With both Flay and the man agreeing, we see the man help destroy Haruto's basket, faking the baby's death. Moving 9 years forward, Haruto is living under the Margrave Gold family, with his mother, father and younger sister Char. Happy to be with such a loving family, Haruto notes how Char is very shy around him, catching the eye of Flay, who tells the two to grow closer somehow. Seeing that Char is very close with Flay, Haruto gets jealous, watching as Char and Flay play together outside. Seeing Haruto staring blankly at Char and Flay playing, Haruto's mother cheers Haruto up, reasoning that Char simply is shy and doesn't know how to act around boys that are the same age as her. Hearing this, Haruto wonders if Char knows that he is a creep reincarnated in a young boy's body, but hears his mother remind Haruto that he'll eventually inherit their wealth and suggest that Haruto play with Char every once in a while, instead of locking himself in his room. Returning to his room, Haruto thinks about running away to live his own independent life, but knows that Flay would be devastated, and his family would feel betrayed. Haruto reveals that whilst he had locked himself away, he had crafted this robot copy of himself, but sadly the robot can't speak just yet. Wondering if he can create robot copies of others, he's suddenly called by his father. Out in the yard, his father states that he'll be training Haruto on how to wield a sword, scared that Haruto is wasting his life away, believing that Haruto has low mana levels. Telling his father about his studies into ancient magic, his father is surprised to hear a unique interest, but still wants to see if Haruto has potential as a swordsman. Standing off against one another, Haruto senses his father's potent aura, having been a warrior his entire life, given the title of Earth-Shattering Warhammer. Encasing himself with a barrier, Haruto swiftly leaps towards his father, swinging his wooden sword down, only for his father to dodge as his sword snaps in half, having collided with the ground. Shocked, his father spots a massive hole from where Haruto's sword landed, taking a battle stance to gauge Haruto's skills. Swinging his blade at Haruto, his father watches as Haruto effortlessly evades his strike, knowing that only level 30 and above warriors can dodge a strike like that. Thinking back, Haruto had tried to measure his mana level several times in the past, but no changes in his level ever appeared. Instead, he believed that the goddess had in exchange for the low mana level, gave him unlimited potential with barrier magic. Knowing that his son still has much to learn, Haruto's father continues to train RMC, all whilst Char watches. That night, Haruto's father chats with his wife, whilst Char lays on her mother's lap. Revealing that Haruto has crazy skills, Haruto's father wonders if he must be a demon's offspring, as there have been tales of the royal family experimenting with demons. Refusing to believe such a thing, Haruto's mother chalks it up to be the royal insignia exhibiting strange traits, explaining why a demon beast like Flay is so close to Haruto. Nonetheless, both Haruto's mother and father state that they'll continue to raise Haruto just like a normal child, not knowing that Char is listening in on everything. Laying in bed, Haruto notes how his father has been very busy lately, happy that he gets to skip sword training. Hearing men screaming outside, Haruto uses barrier's magic to track down the source of the noise, shocked to see so many people injured. Confronting his father, Haruto sees his father shooken up, revealing that he and his men had set out to hunt down some thieves terrorizing his land. But having underestimated the thieves, their forces were ambushed, resulting in his men being severely injured, all because of his rash decisions. Seeing his father on the brink of breaking down, Haruto returns to his room, but before he does, he hears Flay insulting his father, ordering her to be silent, only to heal all of the wounded soldiers. That night, Flay waits outside Haruto's room, waiting for Haruto to wake up, apologizing for insulting Haruto's father. Chatting privately outside, Haruto begins scanning the surrounding area with his barrier magic, spotting several men camped nearby, realizing that the men are normal bandits and knights. Finding it suspicious that such weak men were able to severely injure his father's forces, Haruto suspects that there is a spy amongst their ranks. Knowing that he should solve this conflict quickly, Haruto and Flay fly towards the bandits, all whilst Char watches. Cutting to the leader of the bandits, The leader is seen celebrating their surprise attack on Haruto's father, sad that they weren't able to eliminate the infamous earth-shattering Warhammer warrior once and for all. Suddenly the men spot Haruto and Flay, readying their blades, only to be frozen in place by Haruto. When one of the men threatens Haruto, Haruto blows the man into a nearby wall, demanding the remaining men to answer his questions. Interrogating the men, Haruto learns that the men are knights from the Empire, a neighboring kingdom sent to cause mayhem. Realizing that they probably got help, Haruto realizes that someone with equal or greater influence must be after his father's land. With nothing left to ask the men, Haruto orders Flay to burn down the entire camp, prompting Flay to kill every single person in her vicinity. As Haruto and Flay walk through the woods, Haruto states that he should learn about the politics surrounding this world, but he'll first anonymously update his father on what he just learned. The next morning, Haruto's father, with Char on his lap, learns that the bandits have been either killed or captured, worried that the Empire is up to no good. Asking her father who could have slayed all the bandits, Haruto's father states that the person must be cold, calculative and able to wield fire magic. Deducing that it was Flay, Haruto's father brushes it off as Flay accidentally stumbles upon them that night whilst out hunting. Remembering that she saw Haruto and Flay leaving the castle that night, Char leaves her father's room, rushing to Flay, demanding to know who Haruto really is. Wondering if Char had hit her head, Char states that last night she had seen Haruto and Flay leave the castle, but when she entered his room, she saw her brother sleeping in bed, but this time she couldn't sense his potent mana. Impressed that Char can sense Haruto's overwhelming mana pool, Flay states that Haruto is by far the strongest being that has ever existed, easily surpassing her own powers. But Flay stops there, stating that she can't reveal Haruto's true identity, and that Char should be proud to be related to Haruto. That evening, Flay tells Haruto about Char getting more suspicious about who Haruto truly is, prompting Haruto to begin surveying Char's every move. That night as Haruto heads to the bathroom, he finds it adorable that Char is tailing him, but when he offers to have a chat, Char simply runs away. As several days pass, Char is seen continuously watching over Haruto's actions, during his training, mealtimes and throughout his day. One day, as Haruto has breakfast with the family, he learns that his mother and Char are leaving to attend a festival, one that happens every year. Just in case, Haruto suggests that they take Flay with them, but realizes he hasn't seen Flay in a while, having sent Flay out to intimidate the surrounding monsters to not attack any nearby towns or villages. Seeing Char still cautious of him during dinner, Haruto's mother and Char head out for the festival. As Haruto returns to his room to lay on his bed, he occasionally checks up on them. Suddenly Haruto gets an alert. Cutting to Haruto's mother and Char, we see they have been ambushed by bandits, barely able to escape, as the knights stay back to stall the bandits. Seeing some bandits firing magic projectiles towards them, Haruto's mother is forced to expend mana, casting a barrier to block the incoming projectiles, but fails to block all but one. As Haruto's mother gets injured from a projectile, we see Haruto communicating with Char, asking her to guide their mother deep into the forest. Seeing as there is no other option, Haruto's mother continues to follow Char's directions, wondering who could be helping them to escape. As they reach a cliff, Haruto's mother is instructed to jump, realizing that she should cushion their fall with her magic. Reaching a moss cave, Haruto's mother asks that Char remain in this cave, as she will go find help, stating a hero of justice will surely save them. Scared that her mother won't return, Char begins to break down, but knows finding help is the only option. As Haruto's mother leaves the cave, she realizes the entrance to the cave had been covered by illusionary magic, wondering who is helping them. Just then the bandits catch up, spotting Haruto's mother, but reasons that Char is not too far from here. Knowing that if she gets captured, she'll be tortured, Haruto's mother pulls out a dagger, willing to end her own life. It means Char's location won't be revealed. Before Haruto's mother can end her own life, Haruto destroys his mother's dagger, knocking her out, only to catch her. Pissed that the bandits had forced his mother to attempt to take her own life, Haruto roars, blasting all the bandits back, knocking every single one out. Back in the cave, Char begs for help to arrive, only to sense a familiar potent aura approaching, telling Char that her mother is safe and that help will arrive soon. Recognizing the potent aura, Char comes out from her hiding spot, seeing Haruto at the entrance of the cave. Having not expected Char to come out of hiding, Haruto greets Char, only for her to ask if Haruto is the hero of justice, assigned to save them. Wondering where Char could have gotten these ideas from, he learns that his mother had stated that a hero of justice would come save them, therefore Haruto must be the hero they were waiting for. Replying that he is indeed a hero of justice, Haruto asks that Char keep his powers a secret, which makes Char excited as she is being entrusted with keeping a huge secret. That night, Haruto and his father learn that Char and Haruto's mother are now being escorted by Flay, and that all the knights that were injured in the ambush have all been miraculously healed. Wanting to know Haruto's opinion on the whole situation, Haruto states that he has no idea who could be helping them, attempting to change topics. With his father refusing to change topics, Haruto reasons that it would be the best time to hint at the fact that there must be a traitor allowing so many bandits to enter his father's domain without them knowing. Satisfied that his father now suspects people close to him, Haruto hears his father mention a dangerous lady, but before he can ask about this lady, Char, Haruto's mother and Flay return home. Having bursted through the door, Char leaps onto Haruto, surprising everyone as they wonder when Char and Haruto have gotten so close. Nonetheless, Haruto's parents are happy to see that their two children have grown so close, but Flay is clearly jealous that Char is being too touchy with her master. Several days later, Char has been constantly visiting Haruto's room, not knocking annoying him a bit. But since she's too adorable, he prefers this over her avoiding him. Asking what Haruto is working on, Char learns Haruto is experimenting with some surveillance magic. Magic Haruto is forced to categorize as ancient magic as he believes no one would know the spell. Char offhandedly mentioned that she had seen a similar spell in their home's library, a location he didn't know existed. Swiftly retrieving several books, Char sits down with Haruto, skimming the books and learning that ancient magic had been lost to history and instead elemental magic is more common in the modern day. Wondering if his barrier magic is ancient magic, as it is not considered elemental magic, he's happy to see Char so interested in learning the history of ancient spells, surprised she has been reading books with the help of Flay and her mother. Seeing as this is the perfect bonding time, Char sits on Haruto's lap, asking Haruto to begin reading the books to her. Learning that gods can travel between worlds, Haruto mentions how this was a common concept in the anime that he watched, piquing Char's interest. Attempting to explain the concept of colored frames, moving frames and animation to Char, Haruto gets scared that he may have freaked out Char with these otherworldly concepts, but instead is surprised to see Char now interested in this anime. Haruto speaks off. Grateful to have such an adorable sister, Haruto spends 2 weeks setting up a computer and invents his own internet system in this world. Setting up an account for Char to watch anime, Char is instantly hooked on the flashy colors and animations, but has issues understanding the Japanese language. Spending time teaching her Japanese, Haruto is amazed with Char's learning rate, able to understand basic Japanese concepts on the computer. Another 2 weeks pass, and Char has begun exploring the zombie genre, making Haruto wonder if Char is truly a genius. Knowing that he should restrict her screen time, Haruto sees Char so energetic, but he puts his foot down, stating that she is allowed to have 3 hours of screen time every day only. That night, Char begins falling asleep at the dinner table, prompting her mother to ask what she's been doing lately. When Char tells her parents that she's been learning ancient magic with Haruto, her mother gets super excited, asking Char and Haruto to keep up the good work. Before they head to sleep, Char and Haruto take a bath, only to part ways for the night. Before Haruto falls asleep, he notices Char sharing his bed, spotting his mother watching over them, so happy to see her children growing so close. The next morning, the family gather to see Haruto's father off, heading to track down the cause for the increase in bandits on his land. Returning to Haruto's room, Char is seen sad, not wanting her father to get hurt, but Haruto reassures her that their father is very strong. Still, Char gets an idea. Using her adorable face, she convinces Haruto to follow their father for safety. Wanting to impress Char, Haruto transforms like the people in the anime Char watches, impressing his little sister. Since it'll be dangerous, Haruto orders Char to stay put, but gives her a screen to watch the action. Heading out, Haruto surveys the area, spotting some bandits in a nearby cave, immediately erecting a barrier to trap them in the cave. Since his sister is watching, he heads to the location, announcing himself as the hero of justice, only to swiftly knock out the bandits. Before he can flee the scene, Haruto spots his father and his men arriving, wanting to know if this masked man defeated these bandits. Having not picked a name yet, Haruto reveals that he is the hero of justice, but before Haruto's father can thank him for saving his wife and daughter, Haruto flies off. Returning completely exhausted, Haruto is forced to keep this edgy persona, as he wants to impress Char. Whilst transformed, Haruto keeps up the persona, but at the same time he has improved his robots. Asking the robot basic questions, Haruto gets annoyed by the robot's behavior, but realizes that Char is in the room with them. Having been resting in Haruto's bed, Char gets confused who the real Haruto is, but is interrupted when Haruto and Char are called to greet some guests. Heading outside, a prince and a princess are seen visiting, but the prince is clearly disgusted at Haruto's father's dirty fields, prompting the princess to ask the prince to be quiet. Personally greeting Princess Marianne and Prince Laius, Laius immediately acts bratty, demanding Haruto's father to bow more deeply. Hearing her brother being so disrespectful, Marianne asks that Laius be nicer, but Laius reminds Marianne that he is the next ruler of this country and that she is simply a political tool. Seeing the cocky prince, Haruto glares at Laius, but is caught staring. Feeling insulted, Laius refuses to allow a level 2 adopted child disrespect him, demanding to duel Haruto. With both Laius and Haruto facing off with wooden swords, Haruto scans Prince Laius's stats, realizing that the prince is currently level 9 out of a max level of 40, noting how he's heard the strongest ever known mage had a max level of 77. Checking his father and the princess, he realizes that a max level of 40 is quite impressive, compared to his father's max level of 32 and Princess Marianne's max level of 33. Spotting Laius rushing towards him, Haruto evades the prince's advances, but realizes he should get hit a couple times to gauge the Prince Laius' strength. Casting a barrier around himself, Haruto allows himself to get pummeled, but when Laius orders him to fight back, Haruto disappears, appearing behind Laius, easily knocking him down. Pissed, Laius tries to fight back, but is tripped over continuously, making Marianne wonder if Haruto is truly level 2. Answering the princess's question, Haruto's father says he personally doesn't know the reason for Haruto's exceptional skills, but right at that moment, Prince Laius casts a fireball at Haruto. Reacting just in time, Haruto projects a barrier in front of him, absorbing all incoming fireballs. But since Haruto's barriers are invisible, the prince demands to know what is happening, refusing to believe that a level 2 like Haruto is capable of advanced absorption magic. Annoyed that he's being questioned, Haruto retrieves the absorbed fireballs, unleashing them as a burst, bringing the cocky Prince Laius to his knees, finally admitting defeat. With the duel over, Princess Marianne apologizes for her younger brother's actions, but Haruto says it's fine, heading back to his room. Realizing that Prince Laius and Princess knew of his maximum level being 2, he wonders if his parents that abandoned him in the forest had leaked his level. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like and comment.